Okay,
Philfo
what if I told
creativity
you
for
there's
your
a single
ideas with
idea
Google
out there that
Workspace
claims to
7.
connect, well, everything? I mean, we're talking about galaxies, our own DNA, and even the design of the phone in your hand. It sounds like straight-up science fiction, right? Well, we're about to dive into a document that lays out exactly that, a theory of everything. And the conclusion? Let's just say it's probably not what you're expecting.
So could one single formula really unite all of that? Physics, DNA, and industrial design? Well, the source material we're digging into today says, yeah. It proposes a framework connecting quantum physics, our biology, and, get this, international patent law. No, I'm not kidding. It's a pretty wild mix, so let's see how the author even tries to pull this off.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. See, this isn't just some abstract philosophical paper. Nope. The whole theory is actually laid out right here in a patent cooperation treaty filing. It's from 2014 by an author named Harminder Singh. So right from the get-go, this theory of everything is designed for a very practical, real-world purpose: intellectual property.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with just how ambitious this theory is. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of its core equation. From there, we'll see how it's supposed to connect to the cosmos and to us on a human level. And finally, we'll get to the big reveal, its surprising end goal, which is all about creating a happy Earth using patents. Okay, let's dive in and start with the big picture. And when I say big, I mean big. This theory isn't just ambitious, it's really swinging for the fences. The document literally proposes a single unit of almost all energy forms. The goal? Nothing less than describing everything, from the Big Bang all the way to how our planet works, with just one simple, elegant idea.
So you might be asking, how do you even start to build a theory of everything? Where do you begin? Well, according to this, it all boils down to one foundational formula. The idea is, if we can really get this one equation, the rest of it should click into place. So let's check it out.
And here it is, E equals O+iA. Now, the author suggests this is basically a simplified version of the famous energy equations from Planck and Einstein. But what on earth do these letters mean? Okay, let's break it down. Okay, this slide is super important, so let's walk through it. E is the easy one. That's energy, the whole shebang. O stands for light, or the photon phase. Then you've got A, which represents sound, or the phonon phase. You can think of phonons as little packets of sound vibration. And then there's I. I is kind of the secret ingredient here. It represents vibration, biophotons, what the author calls the ith point. It's supposed to be the thing that connects light and sound. Now, this is a really cool visualization. What the author is doing here is linking that formula, E equals O+iA, to the classical elements we all know: fire, water, earth. And you can also see a link to something called cymatics. That's the study of how sound literally creates visible patterns. So the point is, this formula isn't just supposed to be some abstract math. It's meant to be a literal blueprint for the building blocks of nature.
All right, so we've got the core formula down. Now the theory zooms way, way out to the largest scale imaginable, the entire universe. And it definitely doesn't shy away from trying to link up with some of the heaviest hitters in modern physics.
So the way this is framed is as a kind of evolution in how we understand energy. You know, we all start with Einstein's legendary E equals mc squared. Then the author proposes this middle step, E equals mcv. And that journey leads us to the final equation of this theory, E equals O plus AI. The whole idea is that this is an even more fundamental way to look at the universe Einstein was describing. And to show how this all could work, the theory ties into some really major concepts in physics. I mean, it talks about the Higgs field, that's the field that gives particles their mass, and it even brings up the Yang-Mills mass gap, which is one of the biggest unsolved puzzles in physics. The claim here is that this one simple formula can actually shed light on how particles get mass in the first place. But it doesn't stop there. The cosmic connections just keep on coming. The theory is also tied to some pretty mind-bending stuff, like cosmic wormholes and fine structures. It even suggests this whole framework could offer a simpler way to understand Einstein's field equations, which, as anyone in physics will tell you, are notoriously complex. Okay, get ready to take a massive leap. We're going from the mind-boggling scale of the cosmos all the way down into the human body, because this theory claims that the very same rules that run the universe are also running us.
Brace yourself for this number. It's pretty wild. The source material claims that as you're listening to this, about 100 trillion neutrinos are passing through your body every single second. But here's the kicker. The theory says they aren't just ghosting through you. They're actually interacting with you in a deep, fundamental way.
And this is where that I, the vibration part of the equation, comes roaring back. The idea is that this ith point is like a gateway. It connects all those neutrinos to the biophotons, those tiny little sparks of light inside our cells. And now for the really big jump. This connection, the theory suggests, might be the physical basis for consciousness itself. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more out there, it does. The theory uses this same framework to talk about things like 4D, 5D, even 11-dimensional DNA streams. Yeah, the implication is that our own biology is working on levels and in dimensions we can't even see. It's a lot to take in. Okay, so we've gone from the entire universe down to our own cells. What's the point of all this? What's the practical application? Well, we've finally reached the end game of this whole theory, and I can almost guarantee it's not what you're expecting. Yeah, that's right. After all the talk about wormholes, consciousness, and the cosmos, the ultimate purpose of this grand theory is to create a new framework for the Hague system for international industrial designs. The idea is that this universal model can actually help us design and patent everything from microchips to furniture. And here's how the pieces are supposed to fit together. The author maps it out like this. O for light, that's ideas, innovation, lines up with the World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO. A for sound, that's communication, trade, lines up with the World Trade Organization, the WTO. And I for vibration, that's our health and well-being, lines up with the World Health Organization, the WHO. It's a pretty fascinating way to try and link cosmic forces directly to our own global organizations. So what's the big dream behind all of this? It's to take this unified theory and build what the author calls a happy Earth model. The core idea is that if we can just align the things we create, our tech, our designs, our entire economies, with these fundamental laws of the universe, then we can build a much healthier, happier, and more harmonious world for everybody. And there you have it, a single theory that starts with the birth of the universe and ends with a patent application. It's a heck of a ride, that's for sure. And it really leaves you with a pretty big question, doesn't it? What happens when these massive scientific theories crash into the very practical world of intellectual property? It makes you wonder, what other connections are we missing between the biggest ideas we can imagine and the systems we use to run our everyday lives? Definitely some food for thought.